Okay, good morning and welcome back. In this video, we're going to draw the bracket. We're going to do this in two parts. There's going to be a part one and a part two. In part one, we're going to draw the block and we're going to get the cutout on the left and right sides. And we're going to get this cutout in the center. And then in part two, we'll introduce countersinks and we'll introduce the counter bore, and then we'll put the fillets on everything to finish it up. So this is what it looks like. Our production drawing looks like this. And you notice if you look at this, the dimensions look a little bit different. This is all in metric. So we are going to draw this in a metric environment, which means we have to make some changes in Inventor before we start drawing. So if we jump over to Inventor, instead of starting a new part, I'm going to come up to the ribbon and click New, and it opens up this dialog box. Now yours probably looks like this. It might be closed like that. If it is, open this up and you want to find the metric folder. Double click that and that changes, and you see that gives you quite a lot of options on the metric side. We're interested in standard millimeter IPT. So double click and that will start your work environment, and it will look the same. The work environment looks the same. It doesn't change any of this. It just changes the dimensions that we're working with. So we're going to start a sketch on our XY plane just like always. Now to know how big we need to be, I'm going to jump back to the drawing, and so our length is right here, is 156 long, and we're 87 tall, and our extrusion is going to be 50. So if we come back to Inventor, rectangle, dimension, 156 long, and 87 tall, and then finish your sketch. Click your house to get it back on the screen, extrude, and we said our extrusion was 50 millimeters. So there's our initial block. That is what we're starting with. Now, what we need to do is make these cutouts right here on the sides. If we scroll down, it shows that to us just a little bit. It gives our dimensions here, but if we read our plan down to this shelf, from the top down to this shelf, is this dimension right here, is 65 from the top, and from the end it comes in 32. And that's going to be the same on the other side. So, if you remember, we're going to start a sketch on this front face, and that turns us around. And then I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm just going to randomly draw it in there to begin with. The first thing I want to do is use my collinear command to line the top of this rectangle to the top of my block, and the right side to the right side. Now I can dimension. We were 32 across, and just to double check, we're 65 down. Make sure you have your dimension command still, and push this to 65, and that pushes that down. We can do the same thing on the other side. Collinear, collinear, dimension at 32, and dimension at 65. And if we finish our sketch, we see our two rectangles. Our extrusion should be 50, And if we click on these and bring them both out, and then reverse it and flip the direction and click OK, that cuts both pieces out at the same time. So that is our initial start. I'm going to right click and turn that off. So going back to our plan, now we need to cut this hole out of the center, this little slot. So if we look and we see how far it is from the top to the bottom and track that out, it's 58 millimeters from the top down. It's 50 millimeters wide. It goes in 27. Our extrusion is going to be 27. And then we're 21 from this edge to this edge. So that's a lot of dimensions to keep track of. What we need to know initially is that we're 50 millimeters wide and we're 58 millimeters tall. So let's go back to Inventor, start a new sketch on the same front plane. Roll that in just a little bit. I'm going to draw my rectangle. And I am going to collinear again, top to top. Now, we know that our width is 50. And we know the height was 58. Now, we need to know how far it is from this edge to here. So if we go back to our drawing, you find that dimension right there. From here to here is 21. So let's dimension and make that 21. And that should push that over. If you check this, that should be 21 also. Now if you click, it's probably going to give you an error. Just cancel that. That's what we want. Now our extrusion distance, we're cutting this in, and it gives that to us right here, is 27. We'll go back to Inventor, finish our sketch, extrude, change our distance to 27, bring it out, flip it so it goes in, and click OK. And there you have it. That is part 1 of our bracket. File, save as, and name this bracket. And when you've got that far, that is the end of part 1. We'll pick up with the holes and the fillets in the next part.